All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Valentine, or no, Happy St. Patrick's Day. Oh man, got that one off by a little bit. That's trying to get everything all set here this morning. Rushing on. I pushed my snooze. You know what I found out I could do here nowadays? I just figured this. I just figured this out. This is how fast I move in my world. That you can set more times on your snooze or on your alarm to wake up, so you can. What I do now is I set, instead of pushing the snooze, I set my first alarm to go off at 6. So when it goes off, it disappears. But I've got another time set up at like 6:25 because I don't like that 9-minute snooze. It's like worthless. That doesn't do me any good. So what I did last night though is I set the first one for 6 and the next one till 6:40. So I am moving a little bit fast here this morning. I found out now that I decided 20 minutes isn't enough to get myself ready like I like in the morning. So that was another good lesson learned. So I won't be doing that anytime soon. But I got my water instead of my coffee today because I'm going to tell you how I did on my little no sugar diet that I've decided to try to go on, and how that's working out for me, and a few other things. So first off, I got my Gamblers Anonymous. We bet you'll call. I thought what it should say is we bet you won't call. Because will gamblers really ever call? They probably won't. But that's kind of a cool shirt anyways. It's kind of an olive green. It's out of my t-shirt collection, and you can find it on Timeless Trends by the Torbergs. Let's see, I got a few things going. Oh, I wore this one today in honor of my brother-in-law Jim and Trey and I think Alex. They all went out to Las Vegas last night, so they got in late and they are staying there for the basketball tournament, which unfortunately I don't follow anymore, so I don't really know who's in it or anything about it. I used to kind of get into that stuff, but I've kind of lost interest in a lot of the sports stuff in my old age, I guess, or just with everything else that happens. That I've got other things to worry about than a bunch of, well, I guess those guys are kids, so they're a little bit better to watch than some of them overpriced babies that make up the sporting world right now. But anyway, so we got a few things happening here today. It's my dad's birthday, like I told you guys yesterday. So happy birthday to you, Dad. We will be celebrating all day long in your honor tonight. I wish you were here with us, but you will be here in spirit. And I'm going to tell you a few things about my dad here shortly after I get my introductions and everything all set. So I got my water today instead of my coffee. Because, man, boy, did I must really get dried out down here when I sit and talk for 15, 20 minutes. And I went without my coffee now. So, and a second day in a row without the coffee. And so that was part of my no sugar. So, okay, so this is how it went yesterday. I kept my notes on what I brought in for sugar intake. And it wasn't too bad. So for breakfast, Val made me a couple eggs. So I had them, just some eggs with a piece of toast and some butter. Throughout the day, I think I told you guys I've been making beef jerky lately. So I've had I had a piece or two of that, just smaller pieces, just kind of as snacks. And they do have some sugar in them. So they've got some brown sugar in the mix that I make. But it's pretty minimal, so it's not too bad. And then for dinner, I had a salad with some strawberries, blueberries, I think some raspberries, and some spaghetti and meat sauce. So yesterday's diet went pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it. That was pretty much all that I had during the day. No, that was all that I had during the day. Val tried to tempt me late last night, though. Her and Bianca made chocolate chip cookies. And oh man, that was tough. And she made, this is what she does to me though. So she made like 36 of these cookies, and they're nice size and they look so good. And I'm like, she's like, you want a cookie? I'm like, oh man. Because the problem with me is if I have one cookie, I can't stop. I gotta go to about, I don't know, 5, 6 cookies. That's another one of my problems. When I start eating something, I have to eat it until I can't, until I'm like sick of it. Like I'm just like whether it's a piece of candy or if it's something I'm drinking or if it's something a cookie or some candy. I just keep eating and eating and eating until I'm just kind of sick and I can't eat it anymore. And, that could go on for 10, 15, 20 minutes. So again, part of my routine that I'm trying to get out of there. So that was pretty successful yesterday. So I'm going to keep doing that here for a while and see if I can't get myself in the shape of at least knocking quite a bit of the sugar out, and then maybe try to take it to a normal level that I feel will be acceptable to kind of fit into my life without it getting out of hand. All right, so I've got a few things here that I want to just kind of talk about today because it's in honor of my dad. I'd like to tell you basically kind of how he's turned, or what he did for our family, and how he helped us become who we are. Because my dad was born up in Minnesota, up in a little town called Hayfield. It's down kind of between Rochester and Austin, down that way. And some people say he was born, what was the joke? He was born in a hayfield near a town, or a town near Hayfield. But so he was born down there and raised up as a farmer. So he was a hard working, they'd get up to milk the cows at 5 o'clock every morning. They'd do the second milking. They would at 6 o'clock in the evening. They did all the farming stuff. They did the baling of the hays, the cows. They raised chickens. They had pigs. They did it all. And it was just, he was a hard-working guy his whole life. And Grandpa and Grandma really raised him right. They were the church on Sundays and every single day in between that they could get there. So brought up really in that kind of environment. He'd tell the story of meeting my mom. That when he was in high school, the girls from Brownsville came in to Hayfield. It was Hayfield, I think, where they went to school. And the first time she got off the bus, he turned to his best friend and he said, "That's the girl I'm gonna marry." And so that's kind of their love story, because that's how it worked out. And they were married for 30 years. So, and maybe even a little bit longer, but I know it was at least 30 years. And Dad passed in 94. So this year to me is kind of marks the year, because that was about 28 years ago, I think is what it was, when I was figuring it out. And that's how old I was when Dad passed. So for me, this is the year now where it's unbelievable, but he's been around, or I've been without him as long as I had him, which is kind of crazy, because boy, it's amazing how your life has to go on with important people in your life, and how they can still influence you into who you can become. And even though it's sad, it's something I always try to tell Val, because she's had to deal with the same stuff. And anybody that, loses somebody that's so important to them at even a young age, or at any time in your life, that, they may not be with us here necessarily in the world, but what you remember and how you help live their legacy on is what keeps them alive. And I think, that's very important to do, and to just, in when you're remembering somebody, to always bring that out and show people, and not be afraid to tell people, hey, this is how my dad did it, or this is how my mom did it. And even passing it on to your kids, your grandkids, and everyone in your family, that maybe didn't get a chance to meet someone that it was really special in your life. Because like I say, Jasmine, she was born shortly after Dad died, so she never got a chance even to meet him for a second. And of course, Bianca didn't, and all Todd's and Scott's kids. So we have to live our dad through us, so they can know who he was and who our family is. So that is kind of a little thing about my dad. And I guess some of the stuff that he did for us, as far like he showed us, boy, I could go on about Dad for so long, and that's not necessarily what I was meaning to do today. So you know, there's a long time left in hopefully what I plan on doing here with you guys in the morning. And there'll be many stories that will relate back to my dad that I will always tell when I'm trying to make a point or get something across. So, like I think I've always told you since I've started here, when I tell something, I want you guys to know who I am or where I'm coming from or how I've come to this in my life. But some things about Dad that I think carry on with me are, I think, just a family man for sure. First off, how important that was to him, always being there. Some of the things that when people ask me what, you know, me and Val have been married 33 years now and raised 3 girls, and they say, you know, what's the secret to your success? You know, everyone says that, you know, when you've accomplished something for a long time. And a few things I think that in both me and Val were brought up this way is, you know, just being together as a family in a few circumstances will help tremendously. One is we say, you know, have dinner together every single night. You know, and I know in this world that's crazy to do, but if you can't do it every night, do it a couple times a week. You know, do it on Sundays, get together. It's important to always try to be together as a family while they're growing up. And I'm talking mostly, you know, from the ages with your kids, from the time they're born to when, you know, obviously they leave the nest. And of course, in my case, no one goes anywhere. So we do it quite often, but I'm talking as they're growing up, it's very important to do that. Another thing, obviously, is, you know, to get to church. And Dad was raised that way, and he brought us up that way as much as he could too. And that's another thing between Mom and Dad that doesn't happen nowadays. But back in those days, Dad was Lutheran and Mom was Catholic. So they've told this story before, and I still really don't understand it. But you couldn't. There was, because of the religions, their pastors and priests were very strict on who they would allow to be in the weddings and how they were done. So they had to talk to their pastors and get that straightened out. And it wasn't as easy as it is nowadays, where you can just go and get married basically anywhere. So I forgot even where I was going at that point, but that was something I know that they had to overcome right away. But anyways, getting back to some of the stuff about Dad. So he instilled in that, and me and Todd Scott, very strong about just being a family man and always being there for your wife and your children, getting them to church and just being there for him. Dad he volunteered for so much stuff when we were growing up too, for our basketball or hockey or football coaches. He was there, and I know again it's so much harder probably to do that nowadays with just the way society has gone and so many people needing 2 incomes. So the husband and wife are both out working, and everyone is doing so much to help their families. So, but back in those days anyways, it was something where Mom was able to work her schedule, so Dad was able to do this. So if he was at one of our practices, she would be there. And you know, I think that's just part of teamwork and marriage, of working out what's important to you as a family, and making sure that everyone's giving it a full effort. And you know, I know sometimes you can get away from that too, and that's another thing about, you know, the secret of success of a long marriage is obviously a lot of compromise and just talking. Me and Val have gone, you know, when I say we've been together 33 years, and it is a long time, you know, and most of it has been good, but there has been some times that have tested us. I will share that with you guys at some point too. But you know, everything's going to have its ups and downs. But something to me that Dad always instilled into me too is, you know, always remember what got you to where you are, and remember the early days of something, why you wanted to do something. Never lose that feeling, whether it's, and with your marriage, if it's with a job that you start, why you wanted to start it, if it's schooling, what your passion was at, that got you into what you're getting into or what you're in. Sometimes over time you can lose that thought or that train of where you're going, and you need to reel yourself in, and for me, that's what I do sometimes when I get lost, or where I'm at some place where, jeepers, this is just what, and you need to relive it a little bit. You say, what was I thinking at the beginning of this? How was my passion? What am I missing here? Why is it not like it was in the past? And that is a thing too for me, anyways. That is something that's always got me revamped and given me a new direction when I get lost on something like that. But Dad, again, he instilled a lot of, and so did my mother, as far as our entrepreneurial skills or desires, I guess, that of how we got in the direction, as well as going on what we wanted to do. Dad was always about standing up for yourself and just wanting to do what he felt was best that he could help people with as well. So I guess today my story is about, or my message is kind of about that, and just I'm sorry, I guess as I've been kind of talking here, I'm hoping that you guys enjoyed with what I went, but I got a little bit off again, and I'm trying to get this to where I can kind of make a point at the end and reel it all in, but sometimes I get a little confused still. So maybe it's too early in the morning for me. I guess the main thing about today was I wanted to tell you a little bit about my dad, because it is a special day for us, and we are going to be celebrating with some green beer later up at Friendly's. Of course, you guys know. Well, I don't know. When I say that I have cut off booze, I haven't. I'm not like I can't have it if I don't want to. And I'd say over, since I quit 3 years ago, I don't drink alcohol anymore. But there's times I've maybe had 10 beers over that time, and it might be a special occasion like this where I will still have a salute to Dad. So I'll probably have a green beer with my family tonight in Dad's honor. And so we'll be up to see Steve later tonight. And I will tell you a little bit about it tomorrow. And I had quite a bit of list of stuff I wanted to talk about today, but I think at 20 minutes, that's probably enough for today. So now I'll save some of this for tomorrow, because I've got some really good stuff. So for the rest of you guys, I want to say, hey, thanks for joining me today. I really appreciated it. It's exciting to see people popping on and listening. I know this time doesn't work for everybody, but you guys, it looks like people are still kind of tuning in and watching throughout the day. So I hope I make it entertaining, or at least be able to give a little bit of a lesson on something that you can carry on throughout your day, and just help it make it be a little bit easier, I guess. That's kind of what I'm shooting for. So, all right. Hey, happy St. Patrick's Day, Michelle. I hope you guys have a fun day, or be able to get somewhere for a green beer if you guys get a chance. You and Tom, and I don't know if you get to see Sam today or some friends. I hope you do. If not, I guess that's what I've got for you guys today. Everyone have a great rest of your day, and I will see you bright and early tomorrow for Friday morning. See you guys later.